For the Record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctor's Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Kirk Market, experience a world of choice.
We ask our listeners and viewers to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Live from Radio Cayman Studio.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
With Orrett Connor.
Informative, impartial, insightful. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is the 9th day of June 2025 right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We do hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who are on the roads, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Remember, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you've celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a happy belated birthday, whichever is applicable, and to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs brought to you by Coca-Cola, who are proud to support your birthday shout-outs. Coca-Cola available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. You should accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. So very quickly, we're going to share the birthday shout-outs that we have. We have Paul and Emily Tibbetts. Paul and Emily Tibbetts, yeah. Today, the 9th of June. Yesterday, Elsie Hyde had a birthday yesterday as well. If you know anyone who's celebrating a birthday or any other momentous occasion, please share that information with us and we will give them a shout out here. Meanwhile, we will continue our discussion about Preparedness Month here in the Cayman Islands. We have panelists in the studio. A little bit of housekeeping before we start. If you have any questions or comments, we are urging you to please send them to us, to our WhatsApp number 925-3261. Because of time constraints, we will be unable to take any telephone calls this morning. But if you send your comments or questions via WhatsApp, I will be able to share them with our panelists, who are Mr. Troy Whorms from the Public Works Department, Ms. Kerry Picard from the Department of Planning, and the Deputy Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, Mr. Mark Codling. Just to sort of rehash what we have been doing and to remind you what Preparedness Month is all about. It is actually a 6-week initiative that is designed to assist our communities with getting ready for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season, of course, which started on the 1st of this month. So Preparedness Month actually ran from the 1st of May until the 14th of June, 6 weeks rather than a month. And of course, hurricane season is from the 1st of June until the 30th of November. That is the Atlantic hurricane season. So without any further comments, I want to say to our panelists, good morning and welcome to For the Record.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Mr. Codling, I am going to throw the mic over to you now for you to start the conversation. Go.
Sure. Thank you very much again, Mr. O.C. I think one of the key things we need to look at for this hurricane season, we are trying to push, again, the whole awareness program. a big part is the culture of readiness. And when we mention readiness, what we are ensuring that is families as well as individuals have their plans in place. A big thing for us is really understanding what is your needs before, during, and after the hurricane. And what we are establishing as well is also to look out for the vulnerable groups. So all of that will be covered, especially within our presentation and awareness sessions. So coming this Saturday, we'll be at the Hurley supermarket. That's from 9 to 12. So we'll encourage persons to come by and to learn a bit about hurricane season in terms of the general readiness and preparedness, what items you require. One of the things we try to ensure is that outside of your plans, ensure your travel documents are in place and are safely secured. That's one of the key things we're looking at. I mean, for today, and our big focus is really looking at what are the components involved in our response and recovery effort. So while we do make our plans, there's a big initiative around how do we quickly recover and restore to normality. We're working closely with a series of stakeholders like Troy, as well as Kerry from the Department of Planning. Those are critical players alongside other players within the NEOC. So under the NEOC, we have the infrastructure cluster. But then under the infrastructure cluster, you have different what we refer to as emergency support teams. So under infrastructure, you'll have communication, you'll have utility, and you have damage assessment. So a big part is really for showcase and also demonstrate the important role that these emergency support teams would play. So again, I'd like to reinforce the culture of readiness and to ensure persons to ensure they follow our website. That's Cayman.ky, and you'll get all the relevant information as it relates to for the hurricane season and getting ready.
Okay, so should we talk a little bit now about the Department of Planning and their role in this whole preparedness, but not only before and after an event, but simply in ensuring that the robust planning codes that we have and the requirements that when people are building, that they are in compliance with that, because that's the foundation basically for everything. But I'll pass the mic over to Ms. Kerry Ann and have her talk about some of the things that the Department of Planning is involved in.
Good morning again, Mr. OC, fellow colleagues.
Okay, come a little closer to that mic, yes.
Good morning, Mr. OC, fellow colleagues, listening and viewing public. From the Department of Planning's perspective, our role starts with mitigating against the hazards. As you know, we have multiple hazards in the Cayman Islands due to where we're located geographically. We have hurricanes and we have seismic activities. So therefore, it is imperative that we build according to our local building codes because it's there to save life and property. As it pertains to our role in hazard damage assessment, we are responsible for damage assessment post-disaster, and that is in two phases. We do a preliminary damage assessment, which is we go out and we do basically a drive-by assessment of properties. We report in the Survey 123, that's the app that we use to report the damages. So some of the damages that we report on will be damage to roof, electrical overheads, or submerged septic tanks. Depending on the results from the preliminary damage assessment, we go to phase 2, which is our detailed damage assessment. We'll come out of the vehicle, we'll go around the structure, and we look for cracks. We look for, again, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems to report on the damages for those. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what the Department of Planning is responsible for during this stage.
Okay. Now we also know that there's a certain amount of urgency after an event for persons to get back into their dwelling. Yes. And do you have any sort of fast track process that will give priority to those persons who have receive some damage to their structures, to their homes?
So the preliminary damage assessment will determine how quickly persons could get back into their homes, that has to be done within 36 hours of the event occurring.
Okay.
So if we, while conducting our preliminary damage assessment, if you do not see any placards on your structure, that means you're basically safe to reoccupy your structure. However, we have some placards if there are major, minor damages to the structure that persons should not be occupying, then we'll placard that. So during the preliminary stage, if you do not see any placard, that means more or less you're safe to reoccupy your structure.
Mm-hmm. And we know that the Cayman Islands, we have a mixture of old structures. We may still even have some double, what's it called again? Wattle and daub homes as well. And then you have structures that have been constructed under the current planning regulations as well. Any advice for those persons who occupy older structures?
For persons that occupy older structures, I will strongly urge that they probably seek a shelter should a hurricane approach us. And if they're going to renovate their structure, I would strongly urge that they consult a design professional to make sure that the structure is being rebuilt to the current codes. I would also like to emphasize the importance of seeking the relevant approvals prior to building. We don't know the hazards, how severe the hazards will be, and the building codes are there to protect life and property.
That's correct.
Okay. Public Works Department, they're involved. Let's talk about that in terms of preparation. We know that you go through several drills, during the year to see how quickly you can get those shutters up on government buildings and everything. But so much is expected of you, and so much you do as well. Let's talk about that. Mr. Whorms.
Thank you, C, and good morning to the people of the Cayman Islands. It's a privilege to be here to be able to share a little bit of what we do for Preparedness Month and for the rest of the year as well. So in respect to Public Works, the NRA and the DVS, Department of Vehicle and Equipment Services, we all come together to do the annual hurricane preparedness exercise, which allows us to go through all of our government buildings, which is about 124, with about 230 persons, to ensure that when we run these drills, we can meet our goal to be able to secure our properties within 6 hours and ensure that we get back to our families, we get back to our core responsibilities and be available to respond to any emergencies that may come up. So we test this every year, and we added 2 buildings into the most recent exercise, which delayed us about 15 minutes, but historically we've done it in about 4.5 hours. So we know that we can do it, and this is the 38th year we haven't had any injuries while doing the exercise.
Great.
And we actually activated about 6 times last year. So regardless of the type of storm that's coming in, we are prepared, and we will trigger activations for our Class A shelters and be able to stand up and basically stand down as swiftly as possible and as safely as possible. We also get involved in a lot of what Kerry has shared too for the post-damage assessments, but our focus is heavily on the government properties that we do shutter and inspect ourselves. We go back out and do the same type of inspections for those properties. So as a team, we all partner up from the infrastructure cluster and be able to safeguard and inspect and advise accordingly back to the NEOC.
And when you talk about government buildings, these are those that are owned by government as opposed to some departments that may be leasing other buildings and stuff like that. That falls under the responsibility of the owner of those buildings to ensure that their tenants are secure.
All of the buildings that fall under government properties, leased or owned, has a protocol in respect to how we take care of those buildings. So depending on what a landlord may have allowed us to do through the protocols, we would support those properties. But realistically, our core ones are the ones that are government owned. There's a lot of recommendations that come from the department to make sure that even though we are shuttering exercises, realistically as a team, we've been expressing to our clients, we need to upgrade those facilities as well, because the shuttering exercise at some point in the future should be a thing of the past. We should have all of our modern infrastructure in place to not have to do those exercises, But until we get there, we still have to do proper shuttering and batten up, as they say.
Okay, we're going to go to a commercial break. I want to remind you, if you're just joining us, that we're continuing to talk about Preparedness Month, actually winding down now. That conversation is taking place with Mr. Troy Whorms from the Public Works Department, Ms. Kerry Picard from the Department of Planning, and the Deputy Director of Hazard Management, Cayman Islands, Mr. Mark Codling. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Alexander Selvin Eden, 1888 through 1985. Alexander Selvin Eden was a dedicated family man. He and his wife, Sarah Leonie Nee West, had 7 children, and their father made sure that they had the best education available. He loved to work the land and also raised livestock, providing steady employment for others. As a young man, he worked overseas on the construction of the Florida East Coast Railway, returning home after World War I. His major contribution was filling the void in transportation of goods and passengers between Georgetown and Bordentown, which he did with a horse-drawn carriage for 35 years in all kinds of conditions. The government called upon him for many duties in his district, including police service, tax collection, operation of the cattle dip to control ticks, service as foreman of roadworks, and as pound keeper, keeping stray cattle until their owners reclaimed them, and the maintenance of telephone lines. He also served as a member of the Assembly of Justices and Vestry.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite Band-Aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
Ready for some real magic this summer? Coca-Cola is giving your family the chance to win a trip to the happiest place on earth, Disney World, Orlando. Just buy any 8-pack of Coca-Cola or Sprite products at participating stores island-wide for your chance to make this summer even more magical. Imagine the laughter, the memories, the adventure, all with an ice-cold Coca-Cola in hand. Coca-Cola, real magic is just a sip away.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, let me remind you that we are wrapping up Preparedness Month, actually 6 weeks rather than a month. Which is an initiative to assist our communities with getting ready for the now 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. So here to discuss their respective departments' role in this is Ms. Kerry Picard from the Department of Planning, Mr. Troy Whorms from the Public Works Department, and Mr. Mark Codling, who's the Deputy Director of Hazard Management, Cayman. So, Ms. Kerry Ann, we did the birthday shout-outs a little bit earlier, and I just learned something as well. Tishan, your daughter, celebrated her birthday on Saturday, so we want to send her out a happy belated birthday as well, right?
Thank you so much.
Okay, great. And I think that there was something else that you wanted to cover in relation to the planning department. So while you have the mic, why don't we just go over that as well?
Okay. So I would just like to remind the public that while we are in the mitigation stage, it's good to plant trees away from your structures because it tends to cause structural damages and also roof damages should a hurricane occur. Also, it is important that persons remove their shutters from their bedroom windows post a storm because your bedroom window is a means of escape should a fire occur in your home. Thank you.
Okay. Mark?
Sure. I just want to add just more so looking at the processes that take place right after there's any form of disruption, in particular when it comes to hurricane. So there are some critical partners that we work with, especially with the RCIPS. So immediately after, for example, a hurricane or tropical storm, they'll deploy the helicopter and that will take aerial photographs. Those photographs are shared with the team, damage assessment team. What we try to do is to prioritize areas. So if we see areas of greater damage, then we can deploy, for example, Department of Planning, Public Works, as well as Lands and Survey. And we work closely also with the Economic and Statistical Office. Mm-hmm. What they provide to us is looking at the financial impact or the economic impact of any disaster. What's important for us is how do we build back better and how do we understand what has been the impact of previous events and storm. Obviously, we have the experience with Ivan 2004, but in the last 5 years, we have seen a lot of tropical storms. Mm-hmm. And those storms sometimes cause significant impact financially to commercial as well as the residential sector. So what we're trying to do is to come at a more quantitative approach in how we approach in terms of having a costing. And based on that costing, how do we plan working closely? Are we going to build back better? Or are we going to ensure that we put in the necessary mitigation strategies and to reduce the risk? So a big part of the damage assessment, while we're trying to understand what has been the impact, is really for us to plan better as we go forward.
Okay, Ms. Kerry Ann, one of our listeners has commented that we continue to hear more and more about persons either renovating their premises or making adaptations to them for rental purposes. And if they don't have the required planning permission for that to be done, and in the event of a hurricane and damage, would they be able to restore their premises to the condition that it was before, like in terms of rental, if they didn't have planning permission in the first place?
Okay, so if you did not have planning permission in the first place, you'll have to now apply for planning permission to build back your structure. Yeah.
Okay.
And that means that's in two parts. You need to have planning permission, which you may have to do through CPA or administratively, and then file for a building permit.
Okay. So, Mr. Whorms, Public Works Department, we know now, for instance, with the National Roads Authority being established and the role that they play, some of the responsibilities that your department may have had in the past, you no longer have that. How does that increase your flexibility and your ability to deliver even more for the areas that you have responsibility for?
Thank you, C. In respect to the responsibilities that Public Works has, historically, Public Works and NRA was one department. Many moons ago, that has separated.
Yep.
But the public quite largely still thinks that Public Works Department does roads. So we want to also do that shout out to NRA for the great work they do in our roadways, clearing, sweeping, the vacuum trucks that go out, the assessments, designing the roads, everything that goes into our infrastructure clusters to be able to get our roads safe for normal usage, but just as important after a storm. There's a lot of work that goes into that from the DH as well. In our infrastructure cluster with road clearing and, with CUC line clearing, there's a lot that goes into this water authority. It just is, there's so many departments that are involved with infrastructure to be able to clear our roadways. We have off-reg also included for different purposes as well. So when it comes back down to, crunch time and we're giving instructions, we're assimilating a lot of information. Public Works ourselves knowing that we take care of buildings. We're not the property owners of every building, but for government, we provide support to those facilities management departments and those departments that don't have facilities managers. That's a big part of it, because now you also have persons who are charged with buildings who don't have technical expertise in buildings. They reach out to Public Works. We have a master service levels agreement that really outlines what we do for the country, for the core buildings and the departments within government. And those entities also know that if they need additional services, they also need to reach back out to Public Works through our sub-agreements and formalize things that they have gaps for, so we can provide support, because we don't have enough staff for everyone. But if we can prioritize the needs of the country with the information we have known, then the unknown things are less likely to pop up without being addressed. So we actually have capacity to take care of those emergencies as they do arise.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's important to add to that as well. What we try to push working close with Public Works, we refer to things as we call lifelines. So after any emergency, we focus on ensuring that our electricity, water, and gas and all of those are operational. Because once those are in, you'll find that the recovery effort will gradually be much more smoother as we transition.
Okay, panelists, we're going to go to our 8 o'clock news. When we return after the 8 o'clock news, the conversation will continue with Mr. Mark Codling, Ms. Kerry Picard, and Mr. Troy Whorms. So don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
The time on Radio Cayman is now 8 o'clock, and this time signal is brought to you by Foster's.
It's time to start preparing for this year's hurricane season, and Foster's has the essentials you need to weather a storm.
Stock up on canned goods, non-perishable foods, water, health and first aid items, pet supplies, flashlights, and other hurricane kit essentials.
Start preparing now using our online hurricane guide and emergency checklist. Just head to fosters.ky for more info. You can also follow us at Foster's Cayman on Facebook and Instagram for helpful tips throughout the season.
Foster's, better because we care.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The National Coalition for Caymanian's administration establishes a National Workforce Review Committee. According to a meeting summary from Cabinet's May 27th session, the members approved the establishment of the committee, a body Premier the Honorable Hon.Jay Ebanks mentioned during a recent appearance on Radio Cayman.
So what you'll see in the coming weeks, creating that National Workforce Committee, that won't be a talk shop. It will be the layout. What are the best immigration forms that we can do?
It was at this meeting Cabinet approved the Virtual Asset Service Providers Bill and the Churches and Corporation Bill for transmission to Parliament, which is meeting later this month, and the issuance of drafting instructions to amend the Mutual Funds Act, Private Funds Act, the Immigration Transition Act, and the Companion Regulations. Cabinet also refused 2 conditional exemption applications under the Immigration Act and reappointed Vaughn Carter as a commissioner to the Law Reform Commission. The Cayman Islands Fire Service is mourning the loss of long-standing Sub-Officer Wayne Whitelock. Mr. Whitelock served the fire service for 35 years, playing a, quote, critical role in disaster response and aerodrome service. Deputy Chief Fire Officer Roy Charlton.
In the Cayman Islands Fire Service, we are a family. And it's not just losing a colleague or, it's not just a colleague that has passed. Even though we've had previous firefighters who have passed, we still speak of them dearly. The memories that we share, and Whitelock will be no different. At the end of the day, we just lost someone who spent some 35 plus years of life serving the citizens of the Cayman Islands and visitors alike. We just lost a mentor to the next generation of young firefighters. We lost someone with 3 decades of knowledge. That is something that you can't put a price on. You just don't replace that. He was inspirational. He was one of our main trainers of the aviation appliances, and not only that, he was able to operate just about any equipment that the Cayman Islands Fire Service has.
The CIFS has named one of its new aerodrome appliance vehicles in honor of Sub-Officer Whitelock, who passed away in April. In other news, John A. Comer primary students wowed crowds with their 3 performances of The Little Mermaid Jr. after months of musical theater preparation. CATTV's Lavita Thompson has more with music teacher Rebecca Jefferson.
The production features the classic songs and storyline of The Little Mermaid, where main character Ariel gives up her voice in exchange for the ability to walk on land. School leaders at Sir John A. Comer were excited to showcase their students' work and explain the importance of arts education for primary schoolers.
We just wanted to showcase the talents of our students and to just let them shine. There are certain students who really thrive in the arts, and this is their outlet, so we're going to let them do their thing.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller.
BBC News with Govinda Gill. California's Governor Gavin Newsom has accused President Trump of seeking to manufacture a crisis in Los Angeles by deploying the National Guard against his wishes. Protests and unrest over Mr. Trump's immigration policies have been continuing. US and Chinese officials are meeting in London for talks aimed at diffusing their high-stakes trade dispute. Restrictions imposed by Washington and Beijing are hurting both economies. The UN Secretary-General has told a global summit on the seas that the deepest oceans must not be allowed to become a new Wild West. The gathering in Nice is seeking to address issues including deep-sea mining. Ukraine says Russia launched nearly 500 missiles and drones from Sunday into Monday, the most so far in a single night. An airbase was the focus of the main strike. Meanwhile, Russia's defense ministry says the latest planned round of prisoners of war swaps with Ukraine has begun. The 2 warring parties agreed to exchange more prisoners and the bodies of dead combatants at recent talks in Istanbul. The leader of Georgia's largest opposition party says her husband was abducted and forced to release a video apology to the son of Bidzina Ivanishvili, Georgia's most powerful man and founder of the ruling Georgian Dream Party. A ruling party MP dismissed Tina Bogvachka's claims as a malicious tale. Kenya's head of police says a man who died in custody over the weekend was arrested for making a complaint on social media against the deputy police chief. Albert Ojwang reportedly died of head injuries in a Nairobi police cell. BBC News with Govinda Gill.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
We are in the hurricane season, and knowing what to do after a hurricane can be as important as preparing for the storm. After the passage of a hurricane, seek medical attention if it is needed at hospitals and clinics for those persons who are injured. Do not touch power lines and cables that are down. They may be active. Report them to 911 or the utilities emergency hotlines. Broken tree limbs should be removed from around homes or buildings if possible. This hurricane information has been brought to you by Breeze FM and Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Right here on Radio Cayman. Thank you so very much for tuning in and for staying tuned. It is now time for your weather update. The temperature right about now is 84 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are easterly at 6 knots, and your barometric pressure is 29.96 and rising. Today, expect isolated showers across the Cayman area to the next 24 hours, as an upper level trough will continue to enhance low level moisture it's coming from the southwest Caribbean. Radar imagery shows widely scattered showers with embedded thunderstorms south of Grand Cayman moving towards the west. Today you can expect partly cloudy skies with cloudy spells and a 40% chance of showers with isolated thunder. Temperatures will rise to the low 90 degrees with a heat index near 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds will be east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Tonight expect partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms. Temperatures will fall to the low 80s, and winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. In a look at our tides, later on today, expect a low at 2:34 p.m. and a high at 9:43 p.m. Sunset today will be at 7:01 and sunrise tomorrow at 5:47. The outlook is for similar weather conditions through to Wednesday morning, and a plume of Saharan dust is expected to approach the Western Caribbean. And that's it for your weather update right here on Radio Cayman. It is now 8:10.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by
CG Britcade, where people come first.
If you have an objection to this marriage, speak now or forever hold your...
Don't do it, Tevin! I still love you. I have since the day we stole your mom's car and got matching dolphin tattoos.
Oh, Lordy. Janelle? From spring break, oh wait?
Yes, it's me.
Janelle, you've got to move on.
We're like the wedding guest that doesn't ruin the ceremony. CG Britcade. Good like that.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets, ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
Are you feeling overwhelmed, sad, stressed out, or suicidal and need support? Call 1-800-534-6463. K-Mind, Mental Health Helpline. It's okay to ask for help. K-Mind Mental Health Helpline, available from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday. It's free and confidential support and guidance on your emotional and psychological health.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
It is now time for your traffic update. For those of you who are on your way to work, a very good morning to you. We're starting off with Crew Road. Expect a little bit of delay if you're traveling on that road. We have steady traffic. Over on Bobby Thompson Way, heading towards Huldah Avenue, steady traffic in that area as well. Steady but flowing traffic on the Esther Lee Tibbetts Highway. So good morning to all those who are tuning in and you're on that road. Over on West Bay Road in the vicinity of the Ritz, smooth flowing traffic in both directions. And if you're heading towards the Owen Roberts Drive, not much traffic in that area. It's actually flowing very nicely. That's it for your traffic update right here on Radio Cayman 89.9. I want to say thank you very much to Subway for sponsoring our traffic update.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Follow Radio Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. For those of you who are just joining us, we have another 15 minutes of discussion about Preparedness Month, actually a 6-week initiative to assist our communities with getting ready for the now 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. The 6-week period is almost about to be wrapped up. So this morning we're having discussions with Ms. Kerry Picard from the Department of Planning, Mr. Troy Whorms from the Public Works Department, and Mr. Mark Codling from Hazard Management Cayman Islands, and all three entities that they represent play a crucial role in not only our preparedness, but our recovery and business continuity, as well as the Cayman Islands government is concerned. So, Mark, I'm going to throw the mic back over to you.
Sure. Thanks again, OC. And again, wonderful morning to your listeners as well. What we're trying to emphasize while we speak about the whole recovery and response capabilities within government, we also encourage persons. Safety is key, especially as it relates to even handling portable generators. So while within government itself, we do have generators at different facilities, for individuals and families and commercial entities, we encourage, if you're going to utilize such equipment, you should ensure that you have qualified electrician. But very important, especially for residential homes, we encourage persons do not connect the generator directly to your breaker. I know there have been tips shared with CUC, thanks to our colleagues from CUC. If you follow their webpage, they'll also have that information. Okay. But you ensure that you plug it directly into the generator versus into the panel box. And always ensure that the generator is on outside, it's on the outdoors, and it's in a well-ventilated area, essentially. So away from doors, away from windows. But I've seen many case studies across, not just other jurisdiction, where we have seen significant impacts and loss of life as a result of not proper use of generators. But what I'll do, I'll allow my colleague from Public Works try to speak about the work that we've been doing, especially getting our shelters ready. A big part of that is undertaking the assessment that is done ahead of the hurricane season. Troy?
Mr. Whorms?
So historically, coming up to hurricane season, we would always get involved with HMCI, our partner agencies, to show up and be able to do inspections, do regular service and maintenance, identify troubleshoot issues, correct and rectify them as best as possible, so that we can be ready for activations and shelters can be ready at any point in time. So we may always think of shelters of places that need to be ready for a storm or hurricane, but realistically, there's many other natural disasters and reasons that you may need a shelter, and those need to be stood up in those opportunities as well. So we have to be in a state of readiness at all times. Even though we're doing our exercises, it's just making sure that those opportunities are official opportunities to train our current staff, our new staff, and just re-encourage the behaviors that go with preparedness, to be consistent and have a day to say that we do this. But realistically, this should be part of your lives continuously, not just because we're in a storm season. We should always have an emergency plan for your properties, for your homes, for your families, regardless of the event. So when we get involved, we're focused heavily on the physical, the built environment, as we say, which is the physical building itself and everything that goes into that infrastructure. But realistically, that is what we plan and prepare for. But the things that change are behaviors.
Correct.
So we need to make sure we practice those home activities, those professional business activities as well, to be able to stand up to any type of emergency that may arise that requires us to quickly shift and be ready to take care of ourselves, our families, and not create any more hazards and problems for especially our first responders and persons that take care of us.
And during an event, let's say a hurricane, do you have your staff strategically positioned, or everyone basically are allowed to be at home with their families, except for those who may be on one of the committees as well?
Yeah, so just to add to that, what we'll do before the NUC is activated, obviously we will have plans way ahead of time. So we look at, for example, the 72-hour window, the 48-hour window, and down to 24 hours before if there's any impact. what we try to do is ensure that you take care of your team colleagues in terms of the NOC clusters, in terms of the infrastructure, the human concerns. So ensure that your family is taken care of. Things are in place before you actually be deployed to the NOC center. So once everything is taken care of, obviously you take care of your family first. We ensure that, especially when it comes to the debris management aspect, when it comes to heavy equipment, we'll ensure that assets are basically pre-deployed across the island, all 3 islands accordingly, in terms of if there's an impact and you are to respond, we'll have equipment in that area, especially to clear roads, to ensure that that's done ahead of time. So first and foremost, we ensure that the wellness of the staff is taken care of ahead of time, and families are taken care of. Once your family is safe, you'll know that you're able to execute your duties accordingly.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yes.
Anything you want to add to that, Mr. Whorms?
Not at this time. In general, we're thankful for everyone that participates in this, and realistically, it is a team effort. A lot of persons, go unnoticed, unannounced, but within our teams, we recognize everyone. We share information, we learn from everyone, and it's all about safety. It's all about family. It's all about our teams, and they respond according to how we treat them. So if we are also putting in good behaviors, those good behaviors translate out to the wider public, to our families, and that state of comfort that comes with being prepared is a real thing. And I'll share this. Last year, I was more comfortable than I have ever been, for good reasons, because when you go through a certain protocol every year and you know you're doing better than last year, and you know that the gaps that you're closing are very minimal now, there's a state of comfort that comes with that. But it's not to be over confident with that. Yes. It's just knowing that, hey, if something happens, I know I have to pivot. And I have done everything I could possibly do before the storm. So when it's time to button up and stay ready and stay, I guess, listening to Radio Cayman, the official news channels, to be able to communicate what's happening in the storms, we are listening to them and responding accordingly.
Excellent. What?
Yeah, I certainly agree. And with everything that we do with the various emergency entities, as well as working with different government and private sector, at the heart of everything is a communication, and a massive shout out to our colleagues from Department of Communication. Everything that we do, we ensure that we communicate with the public in a very timely manner. And just to highlight, especially, you'd have seen several graphics being going out, especially when it comes to the all clear, which is green, and everybody know. And you'll have different colors that indicate if we're under a warning, a watch, an alert, that sort of stuff. So again, ensuring that the communication is clearly articulated is something that we're really pushing. We're working with our stakeholders, and especially as it relates to the utilities as well. Personally, like to know, when is the water coming back? When is my electricity will be restored? And a communication element. So what we try to do is ensure we have a robust communication system. We work closely with the Department of Public Safety and Communication, as well as our colleagues from Off-Rig. So we try to ensure that power is restored, we have that telecommunication, have that redundancy in place. So the word is important for us to get out as well to the public.
Okay. We still have about 7 minutes left to go. Miss Kerry Ann, anything else you want to add to the particular viewpoint that was expressed just recently?
Yes. First of all, I'd like to shout out my team. They're always in a state of readiness because of the job that we're assigned to. Also, I'd like to remind the public to ensure that work sites and around their yards are free from debris, because debris can cause major damage to not only their property but to other persons' property. Thank you.
Okay, one of our listeners, they've written and said, if a property owner perceives there is a tree nearby but not on his property, which is a possible danger, and the nearby owner or administrator of the adjoining property will not bring down the tree safely, who or what agency might be approached for assistance?
Unfortunately, I would say that's a civil matter that they'll probably have to try and sort that issue out.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we go by the law. Trying to encourage persons. I mean, at the end of the day, we try to have a more community-centric approach to things, working closer with the community, because what we are trying to and recently, up to yesterday, we undertook shelter management training. A lot of volunteers came out. We had over over 70 volunteers yesterday. And a big part of that is getting the community ready, because nobody knows your community better than the persons who are living within their community. And that plays a critical element, both in terms of notifying us within the NOC of what's taking place. So even like last year, we had Tropical Storm Helen, we had Hurricane Beryl. Person in the community would indicate we have a fallen tree in this area. We need support, we need help. The community plays a critical role. So again, I think at the center of things for the Cayman Islands is working together and ensuring that we work together as a community. And that's critical both during, after any major event.
Mm-hmm. And I know we had representatives from CERTS here as well, and they play a critical role in knowing their communities, knowing those persons who are more vulnerable than others, and as well.
Yeah, and that's very important, because once we are able to know what your vulnerable persons are, we can able to provide them support, especially ahead of time.
Okay. I want to give all of you an opportunity for some closing comments. We'll let you have the last word, Mr. Codling. So we'll start with Miss Kerry Ann. And again, one more time, happy belated birthday to Tishan, who's celebrated her birthday yesterday, right?
On
Saturday as well. Yes.
I would like to say thank you, Mr. O.C., for having us here today, and also to emphasize to the listening and viewing public that it's very important that we follow the laws and regulations. You know, the building codes really do save lives and property. So I will emphasize that again. Please follow the laws and regulations. And
speaking of the building code, compared to other jurisdictions, how robust is our code?
We are very robust. We are building to 150 miles per hour. We take seismic activities into consideration. So I would say that we're doing well in comparison to most of the Caribbean islands. We're light years ahead of most of them.
So for some of those people who complain and say, "Oh, planning wants this, planning wants that," it's for their good.
It is for their good. We're here to save lives. We're the unseen heroes.
Okay, Mr. Troy.
Thank you again, OC. It's a privilege and pleasure to be here. Lasting words for myself would be plan. Because part of the whole activity of being prepared and being ready is having the relative equipment, tools, materials you need to be successful. So preparedness and planning is part of that, and having access to those items. So we don't want to be all going to the hardware stores at the same time and trying to apply these things at the last minute, because that's when accidents happen. That's when things are going to get forgotten. That's when we will all be scrambling and calling every person we can possibly call to get the things to do it at the last minute. But realistically, that's the worst time to be able to button up your house. You want to be able to do that when conditions are good, when you don't have heavy winds, when you don't have rains. And that's what we do. We stand up as early as possible to make those decisions to be able to protect government properties, and the same should be done for your private residences as well, because it's easier to take it down in good conditions and put it back up in good conditions than it is to navigate through, not so nice conditions and when storms are approaching. So be safe, obviously share, and I'll hand it over to Mark at this point. But I appreciate being here and being able to share these words today.
Certainly. We appreciate having you as well.
Thanks again. Yeah, thanks again, OC, and again, thanks again to your listeners. But just to close tonight, I've always emphasized this point, probably very, very popularly, is nobody plans to fail, we simply fail to plan. So it's very important for us to have those plans in place. And with that said, we'll encourage persons, a culture of readiness for the month of June. As we can see, we've extended our awareness period. But very importantly, we'll be at the Hurley's supermarket this Saturday from 9 to 12. That's June 14. And we encourage persons to come out and learn a bit more as you're getting ready for hurricane season 2025. And again, thank you very much.
Okay, and thank all of you for what you and your colleagues in your respective departments do to help to keep the Cayman Islands, first of all, prepared. And preparedness means that we are much safer, as well. And, again, like Ms. Kerry Ann said, you're the unsung heroes. You stay in the background, you get all of the work done, you make sure that people know what they have to know, do what they have to do as well, and while at the same time having your own personal responsibilities for your families and, those, who fall under your care as well. It is tremendous responsibility. Folks, with that, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we return, we should have Minister Jay Ebanks in the studio with us. He'll be with us for probably about 45 minutes or so, so don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
This is For the Record.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We are expecting Minister Jay Ebanks in the studio. He's on his way here. So until then, we're going to open up the phone lines in the event that you have something that you may want to talk about. Or toll-free number 1-800-534-8255, also 949-8037, 949-6990. WhatsApp number 925-3261 if you want to call in. Meanwhile, let's see. Sorry, off mic. Let's see what can be shared with you as far as releases are concerned as well. Again, we want to, first of all, extend or again to say to the family, to say to the family of Mr. Andre Harris that we continue to keep them in our prayers as well. We know that the focus has now been shifted from search and rescue to search and recovery. That is unfortunate, but certainly want to point out that we continue to keep them in our prayers, and they continue to receive support also from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, the Family Support Unit as well. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller in the meantime. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Morning, O.C. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good for, O.C., your guests. I just want to make a comment on something they said earlier regarding the tree that was leaning over somebody else's property.
Yeah.
And they said that it's a civil matter. What they mean by a civil matter, they have to resolve it themselves. They have to go to the police. They got to go to the courts to get it resolved. What they meant by that civil matter?
Yeah, that is not something for the authorities like the police to be involved in. It's a matter between two individuals. So, yeah. And they were only neither, the person who spoke, she's not a lawyer. So I think that was more conjecture or suggestion, but not anything that should be taken as advice that they were actually given. So I think it's important to recognize that as well.
Well, see, you and myself been around here long enough, right? That if you leave that to the two of them to address what is going to happen, right? Now, what I was expecting your guest to say, right? We're going to go and talk to these people and see if we can get this matter resolved, right? And if that don't work, then they'll have to take other channels to get this, try to get it resolved.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they did not volunteer to just get involved and try to get the matter dealt with, because, when people are in authority, that their word is a little bit more stronger than like mine and other people that have no authority.
But you have to have some delegation for that, and whether or not that falls under the responsibility of hazard management or the public works department or the planning department, I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I know my sister had the same issue by her house with a piece of property. They were burning all kind of stuff which you're not allowed to. And, you can't say nothing to these people because the first thing they want to do is jump down your throat, especially if it's certain nationalities. I mean, if that was the case, if one Caymanian to another Caymanian went and said, look, we can't have this. I mean, they got to resolve it like human beings. But some of the people that we got in this country now, it's all about them. They don't want to resolve anything, and they just impossible to deal with, especially when it comes to a piece of land or something like that. I mean, it's like they want to kill each other. And, it's I don't know. My take on that, OC, is like I said, I think if somebody's in authority, because a civil matter, just try to get involved and say, look, go there and sit the two people down and say, look, here's a little problem we have. And then if it can't get resolved, then you have to go through different channels to try to get it resolved, because you can't take matters into your own hand, because anything come over my property, right, from somebody else's property, I cutting it down. I not coming to you and ask for permission or nothing. I cutting it down. And if you have a problem with that, that is your problem. That's not mine, right? And I that's how I deal with things like that. So I try to not find myself in situations where all of this thing can happen, because I had a situation many years ago where my fence bordered somebody else's property, and the gentleman came. He was nice enough to say, look, can I take care of this side of the fence? I said, Tom Parker, no, sir. That is my fence, and I want that to remain my fence until I no longer own it or I'm gone. Because I do a lot of stuff around my yard, and if I want to hang out a rag on my fence, I don't want my next door neighbor. Well, I don't like this kind of stuff. So I avoided all of that, and I said, look, no, thank you.
Okay.
And I didn't have him to do anything with my fence.
Okay, caller.
And that's how I. Thank you, OC.
Thank you very much as well. We're going to take an early commercial break so we can start the conversation with Minister Jay Ebanks. Don't change that dial. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Minister Jay Ebanks. This is our first conversation that we will have on the air with him since the elections. I won't tell you what his ministry is because there may have been some changes. So I'm going to say good morning, welcome to him, and he can tell us what the changes have been. Minister, good morning, welcome to For the Record, and thanks for making yourself available.
Good morning, OC. Good morning, Grand Cayman, Cayman Brat, Little Cayman. Thank you for having me here with you today, OC. I know it was kind of a late notice between the two of us, a little back and forth, but we made it, and now we're here. Well, just to give you an update on the new ministry that we have, not just a few added into it, but it's now planning, lands, agriculture, housing, and infrastructure and transport, and the ports falls under that. So the new subjects is lands and the Port Authority and Airport Authority. Very challenging. Looking forward to it. I know both ports are something that everyone has talked about. And there's a lot going on there.
Yep.
So I look forward to continue to push the mantle forward and bring it to the goal line, what we need to do, on the expansions when it comes to the airport and the whatever other expansions that we need to look at if with cargo or upgrading the facility at the cargo side of things, what we need to do. And also a lot of, I think this year we'll be able to see a lot more legislation changes coming in from the planning aspect of things, agriculture and housing, getting more housing going in the not only in West Bay, but also I think that we're going to be focusing now our attention to be building some homes in West Bay and in Georgetown.
Okay.
For this next coming up one now, and try to see if we can find some land in the Bordentown area. Would be very nice. We're a little short of land for housing up in that area, but it'll be nice if we could find some acreage in there that we could start to build some homes on that, because I think Bordentown Savannah is probably one of the locations that we get a lot of people asking for when it comes from national housing, if we're ever going to be doing any building in that area.
Okay. And you mentioned the agriculture department, and I know while you're not involved in the civil service end of things, it was gratifying to note that Mr. Wilbur Welcome has now been appointed as the new director of agriculture, coming with a wealth of experience. Some people question, well, is it a demotion or what in terms of department being the director? But he is young, and certainly being able to have more experience in the various departments can only help him, along the way as far as his civil service career is concerned.
Absolutely. I just want to congratulate him in his new position. I do think I've worked with Mr. Welcome for the last 4 years, back and forth when he was the acting chief officer for lands. And I must say, if he puts in the effort that he has did with as acting chief officer as a director of agriculture, I think we will be more than happy and pleased to see the difference in the turnaround, what's going to happen down there. And I'm just to think, I do know Mr. Welcome is very passionate about agriculture also.
Okay.
So I'm very happy to have him on board and to have him as a new director down there, so that now we can start to look at take food security a little bit more serious in the country and start to open up more locations and where we can import food from. So, and I know he's motivated. I can tell you already, he's already met with some of the food providers here, and they've met and given him areas that they think that we need to look at, and we're already starting to make that ball moving already. So I do thank him. I do think it's a wonderful team down there. And from here on, I think the skies are the limits, and we can start to open more doors.
Okay. Now, we know that you're now part of another coalition government, two parties, and then the independents as well. Can you speak to a little bit in terms of the continuity and from your ministerial responsibilities, some of those projects that will continue, that you basically will see there will be really no interruption between what was being done before and what continues to be done now?
Osi, thank you. Great question. Most of the people that some of them are there was part of the previous party. So a lot of them have known some of the changes and directions that we have wanted to go with planning agriculture, also with our 10-year policy for housing in the direction that we wanted to go there, and then also the direction that we want to take NRA. So this week and next week, I'm actually tasked with bringing up the team with the policies that we have had in place now been working on for the last 12 months, basically, to bring the direction where we want to see planning going and the direction that we want to see agriculture headed. And hopefully that there won't be any changes into it, maybe some minor changes into it because we have some new players with us. But I'm pretty sure of speaking with them and giving them an updates on most of it now. I think majority of them already agree on the direction that we're headed into. So I think we should be able to just continue to see the ball continue to roll down the road a lot more easier than having to make a lot more changes and just disbanding the work that was done for the last 4 years and turn around and do something else. I think the team is well on board and well receptive to continuing pushing forward.
Okay. Can we speak to specifically continuing road works, for example?
Yeah, OC, the NRA is continuing to finish the completion of the CUC roundabout, which is the one by the next to the King Sports Center there. Getting that section of road completed, getting the 3 lanes in and out from there, and getting the lane around the back that hits the Edgewater to get us back down to the supermarket there. And then actually having to deal with the changes of the roundabout by the Hurleys roundabout there, and moving forward from there. And then one of the main roads that we, is that once we're finished with that and getting all of the Georgetown section catch up, the EIA for the East-West has been completed, and it's in the stages now to be presented to the next government. shortly, and then we can start to focus our mind on moving and continue to build out the east-west arterial road.
Okay, that will require additional funding, or what funding is still in place for that?
Absolutely, that will require additional funding. So in the New Year's budget then coming up, we would definitely need funding for the east-west arterial road. What funding we have now is more to just complete the capital projects that we have ongoing right now in Georgetown.
Okay, I see the improvements being made at the Frankstown Junction as well. That would, to me, be a welcome improvement there in terms of regulating the flow of traffic as well, because that sometimes could prove to be a very dangerous intersection there.
It has been proven to be a very dangerous intersection. We've had our share accidents out there, and we'll see. What we're trying to do is be able to slow the traffic flow down that's coming into that intersection, make it a lot easier when you're coming into that intersection by having the turning lane, but by having your lane coming in and out, but then also having a lane turning going east that allows you to merge into traffic flow. So hopefully we should have it finished within the next couple of weeks. We were scheduled to have it paved, but there were some things going on with island paving equipment that we had to wait in, and then now we're at that stage ready for them to pave and start to get it marked out. I think it'll make a big change to that intersection, make it more safer, and then we can take it from there.
And further into your district, we see again another welcome change in terms of the speed limit going through the Frankstown area, the residential area there as well.
Yes, OC, that was something that's been lobbied for years now, and when about a year and a half ago, it's something that I started to look into because I was getting a lot of complaints from people in Frankstown saying that they wanted to see the speed limit dropped, especially in a section where the school zone was and where there's a lot of kids activity that's happening where the kids area are. And so we decided that looking at it from the Frankstown Junction just to pass the Botanic Park, we would drop the speed limit in that area, especially because that was the main community area where a lot of the houses were. And the people are pleased to see that. And, that's the first stage of it, to see how we can slow down the traffic flow and help save lives in the area.
And if we can go back to housing, I know previously for the Georgetown area, I believe that you had brought to our attention the fact that there was some property off the Linford-Pearson Highway that had been identified. Any clarity has reached on that in terms of, because you did mention earlier the fact that still, even though you're looking for property more in the Bodentown area, but Georgetown was sort of a challenge at one point in time as well. Does that challenge still present itself?
Yeah, I don't think it was over a challenge, but I think at the time we were trying to find all the alternative areas that we could try to help preserve that that area till we could figure out exactly how to deal with it. Because one of the areas that with that particular piece of property at Linford, if we do go in and start to develop that, we will make more challenges for Randyke. And that was my fear, is that, if we go in there and do that without sorting out the water, the rainfall, and how we direct the water flow coming out of Randyke, and getting that under control first, we were going to create a more bigger problem for those people in that area. But we do have the Cox site in Georgetown, which belongs to National Housing, that we're going to be looking at to be able to put affordable homes on that property.
Okay, that sounds good as well. There was something else I was going to ask you, and it was right on the tip. Okay, so if we were to look at the major road projects, and certainly the CUC roundabout, to me, has to be between there and the Hurley's Grand Harbor, has to be one of the biggest projects taking place now in terms of road realignment. Does vehicle licensing fall under you as well?
Yes, sir.
How are we now going to, or are there any intentions to look at the licensing procedure, especially for drivers, with more roads coming, being more complicated to navigate as well. Any intentions of looking at the road codes and how we address the driving that in the Cayman Islands that people have so much concern about?
Yes, OC, that's been something that I've heard numerous amount of times now, especially during the campaign season, people talking about a lot of the drivers that are individuals that are coming to the island not knowing how to drive and not knowing the standards and also the timing of driving that they go through and who teaches them, and whether there should be a different teaching aid for drivers. That's something that we definitely are going to be reviewing, taking a look at, also along with the transportation system in the country. Hopefully that with that going forward, and we start to, once we get a transportation system in place and buses moving in the right direction, then we can start to make some more hard decisions when it comes to the traffic flow in this country and who can own a license from who can't own a license. And now I'm speaking just directly for myself.
Yes.
On that, right? I'm not talking from the group, because that's something that I haven't mentioned to the group or got their consents on yet. But I do think it's time that we need to start to look at who can have a license in this country and take it from there. But again, it's, before we get to that step, it's something that we would have to fix our whole transportation system to make sure that that is up in the right direction and flowing properly.
One of our listeners has a question in relation to the completion of the housing project in Northside and where we're at with that.
The completion for the housing in Northside, the first 8 has their COs to go, and then 8 till 14 are just on their last final inspection, and then the other I can't remember exactly, but the other rest of them are not too far behind in their last and their few inspections that need to go. So there are some keys that should be turning over shortly. I know the housing trust is talking between the banks right now, getting the COs over to them. And as soon as those people can get the transition and get their lands, their purchase agreements and all that in place, those homes are ready to go to drop in the individual's hands. It's something that we've been trying to push for quite some time to try to get it done very quickly. We had a little challenges at first, but we finally got them all sorted out now, so we're there. So I would say that if you haven't heard from National Housing, especially if you were in the first set 10, you could actually probably just reach out to them, or I will ask National Housing to just reach out to the individuals this week to let them know that they have their COs and that they should be in contact with their banks so that they can start to transition them into their own homes.
Okay, Minister, you want to see if we can grab a call before we go to
Sure,
the 9
absolutely.
o'clock news? Let's grab a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor and Mr. Ebanks.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Ebanks, my apology. No, I just call in to just add to the conversation. I think that you're doing a great job, Jay. And one of my greatest concerns and things that I want to see take place, and certainly we got fresh 4 years now. We need to get that East-West Arteria, started and complete. I know you guys started it from Hearst Road, I think, up to Agricola Road, somewhere around there.
Correct.
But I just letting you know that the entire community in the Savannah Newlands area supports this road, and I'm sure the people in the Eastern Districts also support this road. And I think that, yes, there are some necessary things that need to be done prior to, but looking at all of the methodologies that was presented in the road trip, and one thing I took away from all that is that we are capable of building bypasses because we have a few that's already up and running and functional, such as, the first one was the Harkwell bypass, which everybody thought couldn't be done in that area too because of the wetlands and the swamp, and that it would sink, and the road been there for over 20 years and haven't sunk yet, and that was all done locally. So we are capable of building bypasses, and I think that, as I mentioned, some of the things that need to be done prior to, but we need to get that road, Jay, and I support, and I know the whole community supports that road, and we appreciate all the hard work that you're doing, bro. I can tell you, it is a breath of fresh air to see somebody actually getting stuff done.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mario. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, caller. We've reached that time, top of the hour headline news. When we return, the conversation with Minister Jay Ebanks will continue, so don't change that dial. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
If they are talking about us,
living in your head rent-free all this time,
we must be relevant. Radio Cayman since 1976. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
Cayman's national basketball under-23 3x3 men's team has officially landed in Paraguay for an elite training camp as they prep to represent at the Junior Pan American Games this August. It marks a, quote, historic moment, the first time Cayman has ever qualified for the Junior Pan Am Games. Protests against immigration raids in Los Angeles appear to have quietened down overnight after a third day of unrest. The mayor has urged protesters not to engage, quote, in violence and chaos. The protests have been mainly limited to downtown L.A. On Sunday, vehicles were set alight and a British photographer needed surgery after being shot with a sponge bullet. The president has already called in the National Guard against the wishes of California's Governor Gavin Newsom. And Israeli forces have intercepted a yacht carrying activists and a small quantity of humanitarian aid that was trying to reach the Gaza Strip. Climate activist Greta Thunberg and a French lawmaker are among 12 people on board. Thunberg said they have been, quote, kidnapped. Israel's foreign ministry has branded it as a selfie yacht carrying less than a single truckload of aid and says the activists will be deported. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me Minister Jay Ebanks, and I'll try to see if I can navigate this. So he has responsibility for planning, lands, agriculture, housing, and infrastructure. He has now been given responsibility also for ports, including the Airport Authority and transport as well. So, again, a pleasure to have him in the studio with us. He's sharing some time. We know that you have another obligation that you have to attend to. So I'm going to throw the mic back over to you so that you can drive the conversation in terms of some of the things that you want to talk about, Minister.
Sure, no problem. OC. I just want to publicly just thank my committee members for all the hard work that they did. I just want to thank my wife, my family. They were there with me every step of the way going through, and they continue to run my office in Northside, the constituency office. With them, it makes so much more life a blessing, a lot more easier knowing that you have good people behind your back. supporting your constituency while you're out here dealing with the national issues. But yes, and I just want to say publicly thank you to everyone that voted for me. As I promised them, I would continue to push harder than I ever did before and continue to push the national issues that they wanted to see. And I know a lot of majority of the stuff that I campaigned on was a lot of immigration reform stuff. And I promised to make sure that we continue to carry that immigration reform projects across the goal line for our people. Even though the subject is under my Minister Michael Miles, I'm happy to know that we're all engaged into it, and all of our input decisions have gone into it to make sure that we continue to push immigration as one of the top priorities for the government. And as you can see, there's steps that have already been made going forward with that. And we just want to continue to know that the things that I campaigned on, I'm going to stick to it and I'm going to deliver for my people. And as I can say, some of them are already ticked off the box already with the immigration reform and moving forward with that. So we'll be happy to know that by the next sitting of the Parliament, we'll have a lot of immigration legislation to bring forward. And I do thank the government for the full support and seeing the vision and for knowing that immigration reform is something that was really needed in the country, and continue to make that a priority to move forward. And we're all behind Michael to make sure that that is pushed and going forward. So our Honourable Michael Miles. But yeah, so OC, one of the things that I want to look at very quickly is making changes to our boundary when it comes to our high water mark.
Yes.
This was something that was part of our whole scheme of our development plan and our changes to the legislation for the planning aspect of it. But it's something that I just want to pluck out of that whole thing and just take that forward very quickly and try to make the changes on that, because sometimes we get caught up in trying to make a big, massive change, and the massive change takes a very longer time to make. Whereas we can pull out some of the quick wins out of it and get them done and get them implemented. So something that me and my team are looking at right now is the high water mark surveys going forward on the beaches, and looking at the data and working along with the Minister of Environment, having conversations with her also where we think the new high water mark surveys should be at versus where we used to go, where before people would wait, and 1 minute the sand shifts and you get a different high water mark from whether we're looking at the vegetation or whether we're looking at a 20-year line that's going back there. But those are one of the quick wins I want to pull out of planning very quickly and get implemented, because I think we can see it happening along a lot of and especially for north side now. I've noticed that even some of the smaller lands that we're seeing, a lot of these houses are being built on are extremely too large for the properties, right? And sometimes you have the one that you see a vehicle sticking out from the door and it's almost right on the edge of the road. So we got to, I want to make these changes very quickly so that we can slow these things down and from happening in the future. But then also one of the big things I think that the government is very keen behind is continue to do the development plan for the country and pushing that. And we're at the stage right now where we're going to put the appeals body together now to hear the decisions and any of the companies from the development plan going forward now, so we can start to move into the second phase of that, taking that there. So great things that we see that was on the fire for a long time, but now we're seeing the opportunity to get them a little bit closer to the finish line. Again, East-West is a huge priority for the government. I think just about every minister that's in there have actually campaigned on the delivery of the East-West and getting it to the stages where we need to get it to.
You mentioned your committee and the people of North Side. Would you say that your resounding electoral victory was a reaffirmation of and a validation of what you have done in your community, in your constituency, but not only in your constituency, but as a minister, the things that you have done, the accomplishments that you have achieved as well?
I think it's a combination of both, to be honest with you, OC. But there's no nicer feeling to know than when you have one of your constituency members call you up and said, that they're in this area, and boy, they hear so much good things of people talking about you, or people saying, that boy, I wish they could have voted for me. Mm-hmm. And I've heard so much of that through the whole campaign. So it makes you know that you're in the right direction, you're pointed in the right direction to continue to see things through. And it's just a matter of walking things through, making it, seeing it to the completion, and not hearing just, we've been hearing about so much of this, but never seeing the action of it getting done. Yeah. And I've always said, OC, what, if you want something done, if you're going to give it to me, consider it going to be done. Okay. And that's how I live by, And your decision to remain as an independent. Well, it proved out I was right then to stay there. Yeah, OC, I just thought that I wasn't sure where the party systems were all around going, so I decided that I was best to stay as an independent, and then we take it from there afterwards just to make sure that wherever we go, I always knew that Northside would be sitting back at the table. Mm-hmm. And that was my whole objection, to make sure that Northside always have a seat at the table. So, instead of taking a side and saying that I was going to run with this party or that party, I decided to just run neutral and stay as an independent and be able to work with just about anybody that could go in there. Okay, I believe you have a caller in a WhatsApp. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hey, good morning, Mr. O'Connor.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. J. Concerning the new homes that the government has plans on building, is it possible to put brick roads in these residential areas where you all are planning on building for people, instead of the asphalt, which causes a lot of heat? Is that possible, like as they did in Georgetown by the library?
I think it could be something that you could look at, but I think it would be what would be the cost of a brick road versus an asphalt road is something we would have to take in consideration too.
Okay. And also, when it comes to the land that DART owns, like coming from the West Bay area, coming straight up, a lot of that land that he has where he's planting a lot of his plants that he has for sale and so forth throughout that whole area and across from Jackson Pond and so forth.
Okay.
Is it possible to put a law in place that anything that DART builds in those areas, that they have to have a trench around the buildings in order to collect the water, so that this water is not spread out into the roads and out into other areas on the island, in that area? Is that possible to make a law such as that?
Well, right now the planning law talks about this stormwater management, that you have to deal with the water that actually falls on your property and how you maintain that water. It's something that I've been talking to my colleagues about just recently in the last week, and asking them for their support, that I want to look at of amending the planning law, that if you are building in a low-lying area and you had an area where that piece of land was always the runoff for the neighborhood, and now that you've come in and built in that area, although you're building your house or your property up to the standards, and the law states now that you have to worry about what water falls on your property, what happens to the individuals that were there before that are now being prone to the flooding because you built up your land? So what I want to do is look at changing the planning law now that will talk about areas that are flooding, that water would be, you don't have to only talk about just your water on your property, but the surrounding waters that were coming to that property, because now that you have filled that property, it is creating more of a flooding issue for everyone around the area that never had that problem before. So in the coming months or in the future here, you're going to see some changes to the planning law that's going to talk about that, because we need to start to protect our people that have built homes for the last 20 years or 30 years, whatever they are, never had a flooding problem until a development came alongside them. And because that area was always a runoff for them. And that is something that I've asked the government that we need to look at when we're purchasing land, that we start to look at some of these areas that we could hold for retention ponds or were retention ponds to prevent flooding any further, whether, it's especially for the Randike and the South Sound and in the Bordentown area or prone areas that we know. And I think it's Washington Boulevard, those areas where we could purchase land around it to protect that area, those areas from any development that would happen, that we always have that retention pond to be able to allow that water to go there.
Okay.
So that's something that I've looked into. I'm looking into actually a piece of land right now for north side, for the same reason that if a developer actually develop it, it would actually destroy a lot of the homes that are around that neighborhood, because these homes have been built for 40, 50 years. And at that time, a lot of people were, when they're building homes, they're only 6 inches above the road. And now, if, that area has been known to been a overflow for the water and been a retention area for the water of that neighborhood. And if it's filled up, then, where are we going to be at next?
Yep. Caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for that. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll see how much longer Minister J. Ebanks will be able to stay with us. Don't change that dial. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget. Our Custom Closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have some good news. Minister J will be able to stay with us up until maybe few minutes before 10 o'clock to get to his other meeting. So we want extremely grateful for that. We have a few callers, and also one listener wanted to know about the housing in Northside, whether or not the offerings were available for Northsiders as well. So I'll give you an opportunity to answer that before we take our next caller.
Yeah, thank you, O.C. Thank you for the question. See, when we first came to Northside, and I think it was maybe 21, 22, somewhere around there, and we had our first housing meeting in Northside, a lot of the applications for a lot of the homeowners in Northside, and at that time that was filled out, had the first preference of getting into Northside. We had several Northsiders that filled out those applications, and at that time, those that had filled out that had the opportunity that night, and in the previous meeting that we had, to be the first owners in there, because no one knew that we were going to be building in Northside until that time when we had that meeting in there. As you know, the housing trust is built in West Bay Town, Bodden Town, East End, and this was our first phase to ever be built in Northside.
Yeah.
Yes. So there, but from what I understand, I think pretty much all the homes in Northside have been allocated now. So that phase will be actually at its completion, and then moving on, we'll have to look for another site in the future to do another site. But one thing I can say is that the previous government before, we have identified little small parcels that quarter-acre parcels, smaller than that parcels that we could build homes on throughout the whole island. And I don't want to be mistaken, but I think it was either 25 or 30 little lots that was transferred over to National Housing so that they could actually go out and build homes on these little small ones that we thought that was suitable for housing and was able for, that the government didn't think at the time any reason why they would want or need to keep these little small parcels. So a lot of them were just perfect for a house to be built on.
Okay.
And so we did that. So National Housing is going to be looking through all of those and be building some homes on those and be able to sell those also.
Excellent. We have 3 callers, so we're going to remind each caller to please be mindful of the time because we have a limited period of time with the minister in the studio. Let's grab the first caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I didn't realize I was the next caller. Good morning, Mr. Connor, and good morning, Minister Jay.
Good morning, Mom.
I'm your favorite caller. Minister Jay, I have a few more dead horses.
Oh, boy.
And but you see, you're the person to bring them to because you resurrect them. And I had sent a congratulations message to you, for being successful. So
thank you.
I'm now saying it to you, congratulations. I'm happy that you have been re-elected. And let me say this publicly, I am very pleased with what you do and your response to matters that are brought to you. And so I just want to follow up on one that we have spoken about the last time, just before the election. And you asked me to send you some information, which I did. And okay, so I didn't want to jump on you as soon as you had gotten re-elected. I figured I'd give you some breathing space.
No problem.
So I'd like to ask you, if, we can speak, not now, but speak about that and see, what can be done. And I know that something can be done, but more or less when it can be done. And, even before a hurricane comes through would be perfect. So, it was, I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about. It was about, I'll just tell you the block and parcel number. The block was 28C, and you told me to send you, because I didn't have that parcel number, but
right.
You told me to send you mine, and then you could just find it from there.
Yes. I tell you what, Ms. Brenda, you want to take that offline in about another, you want to give me a shout around 10 o'clock, and then I can update you on from there?
That's perfect.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem, Ms. Brenda.
Thank you very much, caller. Next caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Morning, Mr. O.C. and morning, Brother Jay.
Morning. Good morning.
I guess you recognize this voice as Jimmy, no?
This is Captain Jimmy.
Yep.
Yeah. Jay, nice to know that you're still up in the house, man. You know that. I mean, I know that. I need a little bit of your help real quick. When I say quick, I mean quick. Hurricane is right here.
Okay.
I can't get done on my waterfront the way it is, as is. Okay. I'll try to devise another way to do that. We'll get to that later. I'm moving my rock from one part of land to the other side of where it originally was. The rock is mine, personally mine, from 2006. These people moved my rock from the edge of my piece of property onto their piece of property, which is 68A 118. Mine is 68A 119. Okay, so I have to drill a couple of 2-inch holes into the rock to support my chain hoist that I'm going to have to slip the rock with, so I can get it in different positions to get it back as close to its original position as to where it was, because it used to move up and down on the piece of land during the hurricane time.
Jimmy, we don't have a whole lot of time. What is it that you want the minister to do for you?
And I'll tell you what, Captain Jimmy, I am going to be East End today at around 4 o'clock with my colleague, Minister Isaac. We're just going there for the groundbreaking of the East End dock, getting ready to start. On my way back out, can I stop and see you maybe around just before 5 o'clock then?
You could do that, man. It's an easy thing to do.
All right, I'll bring my colleague, Minister Isaac, with me at the same time.
Okay, let's grab another caller before we go to a commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Well, good morning, OC, and good morning to the honorable member there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Before I address the honorable member, I would like to say kudos to the national football team that played against the Honduras over the weekend. A game that we could have won. But my call-in is to big up give kudos to the goalkeeper, who I think was the best player, the Cayman goalkeeper, who was the best player on the pitch. And I understand he's in an academy in the UK. I could see he had some sort of professional training, and I would hope that the Minister for Sports now acknowledge his ability and try to help him along the way, because I let him know there and then at the game that his DNA is East End makeup. So, I think might be a little north side too, because his father's a Whitaker. So, OC Honor won't be taking any credit for him because that's East End north side.
Okay. We'll give you that one.
Yeah, okay. So, Minister J, I want to congratulate you, my friend.
Thank you so much, sir.
This not just public. I do this personally on your cell phone whenever I see something that have been done that you're responsible for. And I need to say right here now that I know ministers that were in their 8 consecutive years in your portfolio that haven't done half of the things that I know that you're responsible for in your last 4 years. So if you continue doing what you have done in the past, I think we are be on the right track. And you being as strong-headed and have that aggressive personality that you have, because you got a size to go with it too. I know nobody in God really push you around or stop you from doing what you know is right. So you continue doing what you know is right for the benefit of the Cayman people. The Cayman people as we know them. As we know them. And people I know that never supported you in North Side are supporting you now, because not that they fall in love with you, but they fall in love with the things that you have done that have not been done in the last so many years. So not just in North Side I'm talking about now, I'm talking about throughout the island. So going into the election, everybody that I talked to say, oh, you're not going to worry about him. He's going to get elected. And there wasn't people in the north side. There was people from all over. So you just continue doing, and I would like for your input into the immigration reform, because I know that you're very strong in making certain changes. So I'm also looking forward for your input into the immigration reform. We just have to make a strong call and stick with it, and do not deter from the calls that we make, that our ancestors have made and would have made. So let's carry on their legacy and continue doing a good job, sir. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Lord Graham. We're going to take a commercial break, folks. We'll be back shortly, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be with you soon.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superheroes shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
We were on the edge of a breakthrough. I knew the substance was extraterrestrial, but I didn't realize.
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long, the entire lab exploded, and the radioactive sludge went everywhere. I ended up in the hospital for a few weeks, but I was able to manage everything with the CG Online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britgay. Good like that.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me Minister Jay Ebanks. Before we go, any callers on hold? No callers at this point in time. So before I hand the mic back over to Minister Jay Ebanks, I want to share this with you. This person has written and said that they would like to congratulate the 2025 graduating class of CCC School on a job well done, especially my daughter, Anya Davis. And of course, those congratulations are coming from her father, her dad, Mr. Alton Davis, mom, and all the rest of her family as well. So congratulations to Miss Anya Davis, and I am told that she's also going to be the valedictorian for the graduating class as well. Again, congratulations. Minister, over to you.
Yes, OC, thank you. Just following back off what Lord Graham had called in about immigration, and as I was talking about it a little bit earlier, one of the things, I've just asked the minister before too, is that once we have the final draft of it ready and the government gives it its blessing, I wanted him to actually have a presentation to my people in the eastern side of the island.
Okay.
So to get their feedback on it also, just so that they know that was something that we promised them on to. So hopefully very shortly we'll be able to do a road tour on that and get some feedback from the public on where we're at with it and decisions and whether they think we need to make anything more towards it. And one thing I'm looking at bringing forward very shortly too is going to be the new tenants-in-law too in play. We're going to be looking at drafting that shortly, and hopefully we can see something out of that either before the end of the year or maybe in the first part of the new year coming out.
Now, persons have, at first, they were extremely optimistic about the term limits for civil servants, non-Caymanians in the civil service as well. But as time progressed, and whether or not clarity was reached or whatever, but some people seem to believe now that their expectations may have been a little bit too high, because they suspect that the period of time, that is going to be quite an extended period of time before any rollover period is going to kick in for any non-Caymanian civil servants, even though it starts on it would be projected to start on the 1st of January. Can you comment in any way on that, or you would want to leave that for another time?
No, I can comment on it, but I don't want to take too much of the minister's shine from him, because I know he wants to come on the radio too to talk about it. And so what I'll do is I'll leave a lot of that for him to talk about. I'm not a minister for immigration, but I just I know he's eager to come out and give a lot of that information. So I'm going to leave that for him to break the ice in the water for.
Okay.
But what I can tell you is that a lot of the changes that we are coming forward, I think that the community and the island will be happy to see. And it's, from what I've heard, I've just been hearing nothing but good things about it. So, yes, I'll allow him to continue to talk about that. One thing I want to talk about also is the future for the Airport Authority, expansions on the airport. I know we talked, about a lot of people know that the GA terminal is something that the government in the past has been looking at. And
that's the General Aviation
Aviation Terminal. And, this is something that I want to see that the government, I don't think we need to be in the construction phase of owning and building, but I've tasked the board to actually go out and look at come out with a triple P to put out there, a private partnership deal with that. And then one thing I want to make sure that the Airport Authority is looking into within this next 4 years of getting design and build is the jetways for the airport. And that's my main focus, to get that on while the EIA continues to roll for the expansion of the extension of the runway. This is something that we can concentrate on right to the minute and try to get the jetways sorted out and sufficient more parking space for the airport while we're going out there.
Okay. One of our listeners, they wanted to know now with transportation under your remit, they wanted to know when will you be having a meeting with taxi drivers, that a meeting is well needed. So they were curious as to whether or not you had any plans to meet with taxi drivers.
Yes, OC, thank whoever the writer was there. It is something that we need to do now, to have our follow-up meeting with the taxi operators. A lot of them knew that we created this new app, and we were in the stages of working with it. And there's a few taxi operators that have been working along with the app and just kind of giving their feedback to the ministry to tell them what they think of it and how it's been working. So a new update is actually on its way now to have a meeting with the taxi operators, but also the bus operators on the second phase and in the direction where we seem to be going when it comes to transportation and how to better the taxi service in the country.
Okay, we know that you as far as the airport's authority is concerned, you have just assumed responsibility of that. One of the listeners wanted to know if you could look into why the domestic portion of Owen Roberts International Airport is not operational. I think there is a portion that has been built now and assigned for persons traveling from the sister islands to Grand Cayman. But as it stands now, everyone has to still go through the customs area as opposed to utilizing the domestic, as if you were going from the BRAC to Cayman BRAC or whatever.
We'll see. I would just take that down and I'll get a. And I'll be able to give you a WhatsApp back and let you know where we're at with it.
Sure. And off air, I can tell you a little bit more in terms of, what people are saying in that regard as well, or what they've been told.
Sure.
I won't do it on air, as well. Any other callers on hold? Okay. Check your WhatsApp. There may be one on the WhatsApp. Yes, let's grab the WhatsApp caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning.
And good morning to the Honorable Minister J.
Good morning, sir.
We support you also, George. Mr. J.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's an island-wide thing. Mr. J, I want to ask something on behalf of some of our poor people on the island. Sometimes when they concern rentals, they don't want to rent to certain kinds of people and all that kind of stuff. It's really sad to see some of our people homeless and all. I mean, I talk to them and stuff like that and try to help them. But they have a little difficulty. A lot of them have mental problems and different problems. Minister J, I want to ask you in the name of Jesus, Minister J, if you could find it within your heart, you all to build a homeless shelter for the people, the homeless people in Cayman. I think there will always be homeless people. I don't think some people will be able to afford a house at any time in the future. I'm asking you that, Minister J, if you all can consider something like that for the poor people and the Cayman Islands. Please, sir.
Thank you, sir. I will made a note of it, and I will actually continue to. One of the things I can speak a little bit about it, OC, is that one of the things that I had mostly was a lot of the people that are, I find that at least coming out of prison too, when they're released from prison, they don't have nowhere to go, no home, and a lot of these guys will. They'll end up on the road for the first couple of weeks, and then after that, they end up in a bus stop or just hang out somewhere on the side of the road, and nobody follows up on where these individuals can have somewhere to be able to rest or put their head down, and it only leads back to them going back into a life of crime again. One of the things I proposed to the last government is to look at was the container homes. And there was an actual location I think it was in Arizona, that was making these homes at a very reasonable price. And I wanted to be able to send one of my colleagues or members from planning up to look at these homes to see how we could actually have them spec'd and ready for the codes that once they came here, they were just a matter of just plugging in and fitting and ready to go. That way, there should be no excuse why we have homeless people living on the roads or sitting on, not for, for the Cayman Islands. So all of these individuals should have somewhere to be able to go. I'll be bringing it back up again, and I'm tasking the group again to see how we could come up with it, if it's something that we can looking forward to be able to find a location where we could be able to set up a few of these homes to be able to help individuals that are even individuals that fall on a short time in a hardship,
transitioning,
that just needs that one space off for a couple of months till they get themselves back up on their feet back up and going. I just it breaks it to see sometimes that you see people just living on the side of the road or something, or in your bus shelter, and you can't do anything about it, and you don't have no location for them, or the rental market doesn't want to have them, or the rental market doesn't want to rent to any of you. That's why I wanted to look at the tenancy law too, right? Because then we also have some rental rooms that you could never possibly believe that people actually pay for them. Right?
Yes.
But again, so you understand at the time that people sometimes just need somewhere to keep shelter over them. So yes, that's for the caller, just to let him know that's something that we definitely will be looking into, and I made a note of it. I'm gonna make sure that I pass it on to my colleagues for them. But I know it's something that a lot of colleagues around the table have already spoken about too. And we have it in our minds and thoughts of trying to come up with some solution for it.
Okay. Now this one is this one is sort of like a tall one for you, literally and otherwise. But someone, one of our listeners, wanted to know whether or not consideration could be given to having a multi-store parking lot with elevators and covered walkways to the terminal to protect passengers from the elements, rather than at this point in time just spreading the parking lots, using more and more land rather than going up in the air. And while I'm reading, this person also says that you are an honest person. Congrats to you. Says he's a minister of action. They'd like to commend you on a visit that you made to a very important meeting in West Bay at last minute notice. They say that you actually left the meeting to meet with the public. That was during your first term, and that you're an example to your elders and your juniors alike. Okay.
Thank you.
So, okay, we have
sure.
Two callers, one on the phone, one on the WhatsApp. Which one first? The regular phone line caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. This is Alice May Coe, Concerned Citizens Group. Good morning, my dear Minister J.
Good morning, ma'am.
It's always good to hear you, and we know that your heart is in the right place and your actions follow. I am sorry I didn't catch much of the show, but I did catch you saying something about, I think, amendments to the development law, and I think you talked about housing, etc. For the development and planning law, I think serious consideration should be given to the sections that allow the CPA or any development board to have discretion. For instance, the setbacks from the seaside, whether it's Iron Shore or beach. For instance, like I think on 7 Mile Beach, maybe in the Royal Palms area, there's like 130 feet with the setback, and yet variation being given for 85 feet. We don't really learn from experience, do we? And then in addition, we give people permission to put up sea walls again. We need to learn from the mistakes, and I'm putting it in your capable hands to see that the variations or changes, especially for along the waterfront. I know there are times maybe inland you have to be a little closer to people's boundaries, but not on the water's edge. We are exposing our whole country to destruction, and 7 Mile Beach has already showed us that. The other thing about housing and land is limited in Cayman, and I'm wondering, and I think I've suggested that at some meeting that consultants last year, then instead of just making single homes, and everybody wants their own little nest, how about setting it up the same as people do their condo developments, blocks of apartments, townhouses, or whatever, so that you can get more on a small piece of land than spreading it out for single homes. And it would still be a home, and then it could be laid out in such a way that you have a courtyard and amenities that's shared by the whole development, and will lift people's spirits as well as enable them to have a home. There are lots of things I could talk about now, Minister J, but I'll just leave it with those two. Just continue to do what's right in the sight of God and for the people of the Cayman Islands. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you very
so
much,
much,
caller.
ma'am.
Thank you very much. We're going to take the WhatsApp caller, and we're going to make that the last caller because we also want to give Minister Jay an opportunity for some wrap up and then to answer, all of the calls that came in before as well. So the last caller, WhatsApp caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello. Good morning.
Yeah.
Hello.
Morning.
Mom is OC. Rambo speaking for you here.
Morning, Rambo.
Morning, Mom. Mr. Ebanks. Good morning, Jay. Jay, do a favor, tell Felicia, cause happy belated Mother's Day for me. If you got call her. Mr. OC, you have the current government on your forum, right? And I appreciate you have them gradually go down the pipeline. For times of assets and concept.
They're gonna be here.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Different Jay, I appreciate the colloquial, the Mastertown, the airport. You mentioned the jetways with the EIA in environmental impact, right? Because I do realist and practical. Theory is strategy, in layman terms, or it could be hypothetical with that. The point I make now, I born in 84 now, in the Concord land, a day or two before I was born, conceived here, right? In Jim Borden. Jim Borden, he gave the airport a facelift for the Waving Gallery. And due to standards of aviation, security reasons, henceforth, down the pipeline, you know what I mean? So Jay, differently, with aviation, look into it. That's your portfolio, and look into it for me.
Will do.
Okay? Jay, have a good day, bro.
Thank you so much.
All the time. Cool.
Okay, we have a little more time, and a call came in while I was announcing that, so we're going to take this last caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Please be as brief as possible.
OC, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. J.
Good morning, sir.
How are you all doing?
Good, very well.
Okay, but so no time is limited, so I'm going to be extremely brief.
Okay.
Concerning the container homes and what they're making, you mentioned some state in the U.S. I think those container homes could be an excellent way of providing accommodation for the less fortunate, maybe even some of the more fortunate, because there's some really nice ones that can be done. My only recommendation would be that instead of going there, you could actually create another industry locally and do all the work here, and they sort of have them assembled on site. So I think you create another little industry locally.
Yes, sir.
While providing the much needed accommodations. So thank you, sir. And actually, I was going to write to the director and CPA and copy yourself and everybody else. So listen, I had a chance publicly to let me take this one.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much, caller. One of our listeners, Minister, wanted to know whether or not you could consider helping the older folks with some soil, I guess topsoil, and some seeds as well. And I know that you spoke on one of our shows about expanding the services of the agriculture department, because so many people rely and so many people use it, and expanding the services and what is on offering with the department as well.
Sure. Well, see, that's something that we have done before, is supply we do definitely for the schools. We supply the schools with topsoil, and we did that before with some of the farmers, where we allow the farmers to get either some of the mulch and the topsoil that we had in place. It's something that I have to bring the attention back to the government, just to get a cabinet paper done with it, just to give the NRA the approval to be able to issue some of the topsoil that we have out to individual farmers that would need it. But I don't see that actually being a problem of actually helping some of our seniors have some soil to do backyard farming, especially if those that have been registered as a backyard farmer. it should not be a problem. Or even if they're registered as a commercial farmer, because we know farming and soil is something no matter what you need all the time. So we're always willing to help out with that.
And we can't all afford that machine that $10,000 per acre to grind up the rock.
Yes, sir. So it is something that we have a lot of soil in play. In our Rickies, majority of their soil stored, and we just have to run it through the sifter to get it sifted, and then we can help it out. But yes, I'll bring it the attention to the government and ask for their support to be able to issue ways of giving this soil, and how do we keep combat it. But I'm pretty sure that it'll have to be those that are registered as some kind of a backyard farmer.
Okay, I want to give you an opportunity for closing comments and anything else that you want to address, Minister.
Oh, see, I just want to thank you for giving me the privilege to come on the air. It's been the first time now since I've been elected back here, and it's been overwhelming of support on your radio show, but also the WhatsApp messages and texts that I got just after the election. It is amazing. It makes you know that you're here for the right reason and been doing it for the right reason. And OC, I just want to let the people know that I'm going to continue to fight for them and continue to push the things that we see needed for this country, and in the best way that I can. And I just look forward to keep engaged with the public and keep the public up to date of all of the stuff that the government's going to be doing, and be more engaged on the radio shows. That's something that I've tasked myself with, that I am going to be trying to be more engaged publicly, more with not just Radio Caymanian, but all of the other shows out there, as much as I can now, to be able to see this, just keeping the people up to date. Because we do have different voters and different people, younger voters, listen to different radio shows from everyone else. So I just want to make sure that I'm keeping everyone engaged. But I thank you for having me here today. I look forward to meeting with my colleague, Mr. Ranking, at 4 o'clock today for the groundbreaking of the launching of the new East End dock up there. I know it's been something that he's campaigned on, and I know it's something that the East End people have been waiting for quite some time. And I'm glad that they just spared a little time with us to make sure that we could see the delivery of this to get to the end. I'm happy to say that I do think, been reliably informed, that I think the dock at the Lobster Pot has been completed. Once I'm done at the radio show, I'll just drive across myself just to take a quick look. But just going forward, and to my West Bay colleagues, just to let them know that PPC has approved the contractor for the Morgan's Harbour dock. Okay. So now we've got the Coastal Works license, and now PPC has given us the blessings to go ahead and start to build. So we should be out there shortly doing the groundbreaking for that too, to get that dock off and going now. And I know my West Bay people out there will be very happy, because that's one thing I was getting calls from, not only from ministers, but from a lot of the boat owners, boat operators, tour operators, asking about that dock. So now I've got everything in my hand now. So now we have the ability to move forward to get the dock started.
Okay, very quickly before you go, Minister, one person wanted to know whether or not there's any updates on the GG Ham mortgage program.
Yes, we'll see. My team did everything, and now it's called the Home program. And as you know now, the blessings has to go on to the finance team now to deliver this. So I have did my part, and I'm not going to put it on the Minister of Finance yet, because I don't think he's probably even had the opportunity to see it yet. But it is ready to go, and it's just for his blessing now to bless it and carry it forward now. So we'll be happy to see that that's something that that's definitely something that's been is going to be in our SPS going forward. So we look forward to it.
Okay, Minister, again, I want to thank you very much for making yourself available, and still looking forward to having you. And Minister of Education and Finance in with us, hopefully this week as well. I want to thank all of those persons who participated this morning as well. I wanted to address the whole issue of the Health Services Authority, what was said in the Finance Committee. Since Friday's show, I have been provided with some additional information. For instance, the letter of 2021, I believe it was, approving the increase in stipends for the chair, deputy chair, and members of the Health Services Authority, as well as a copy of the Health Services achievements for the board in 2024, 2025 as well, to share those with you. I will do that, if time allows, tomorrow on Talk Today, God's willing, tomorrow afternoon as well, because as usual, we want to present a balanced viewpoint here on Radio Cayman as well. And as a result of that, we will share what information we have been provided on the other end of this. So, folks, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Joins Mr. Charles Glidden at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
My mom's a superhero. She always knows what to do when I feel icky. Yesterday, we went to West Bay Pharmacy, and they had everything she needed. Medicine, my favorite band-aids with dinosaurs, and even flavored vitamins. Mom says they keep our family healthy. I think they're magic. But don't tell anyone. I think superhero shop at West Bay Pharmacy. West Bay Pharmacy, where the superhero shop. West Bay Pharmacy and Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner.
The 24th Annual Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, is here. Presented by the New Self-Help Foundation, Sunday, June 29th at the Hockwheel Theatre. Awesome performances by actress Caitlin Tyson, Erica Asai, Rico Rolando, Jade Dixon, Williams Quartet, Dequan Smith, UCCI Dance Company, Cayman Music School, Radiance Dance Studio, Centerpoint Dance Studio, John Gray Elite Strings, Lloyd Barker, Ola Jimmy LaPierre, and more. Tickets cost $15 CI prepaid and $20 at the gate, and available from the #1 shoe shop and Winners Circle Sports. Talent Exposition of the Arts, Joy, hosted by Anika Connolly and Lloyd Barker, June 29th at the Hockwheel Theatre. Gates open at 5 p.m. Show starts at 6 p.m. Part proceeds from this event to benefit the Foundation Educational Development Training Program of the Arts. For the record, proudly brought to you by
Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Doctors Hospital, peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights